What is up, good people? You're watching Broadsea Entertainment. I am joined by the lovely Lauren Collins today. Lauren, how are you today?
I'm really good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. As you know, this is just like an opportunity for us to have a very chill vibe chat. Nothing crazy. Just an opportunity for you to just introduce us, to introduce yourself to us, and and just go from there. Really. So I'll start. Tell us the basics about you. Age, where you like, not where you're from, actually. How old are you? Sorry.
I'm 21 and I'm 22 soon.
Okay, cool, cool, cool. And what made you start OnlyFans?
Financial
Okay.
situations. And then obviously I have quite a lot of contacts with people who do like spicy content.
hmm
Um, and I always used it to be like really interested. And then they literally just told me like when I was in the position that I was in, they was like, just go for it. Like you'll do really well on it. So I thought, you know what, I'll just give it a shoot. And here we are.
Okay. And how long have you been doing it?
Since October.
Okay. And what's the journey been like so far? Just in
To be
terms of
fair,
yeah.
like it's gone pretty well. Like from the moment I started, it just rocketed. Like within the first week, I hit a
hmm
good percent. Like
hmm
it just got better and better each week, and so far, it's I've not really had a downer on it.
Did you use your like existing social media platforms, like, or did you set up new ones to sort of promote yourself?
Well, I've always had a good following on social media, especially TikTok.
hmm
And I already had an Instagram, so I already had followers on there. And even before I started it, I had people message me like, "Do you do content?"
hmm
So I knew that I would have quite a people out there wanting it.
hmm
And so yes, I just use the same platform, same medias and stuff like that.
Okay, yeah, I think that definitely helps if you because some girls like they think, oh, I'm gonna try and keep it away from my friends and family, and they set up a new one, and it's doable, but it's so hard. Like where
Yeah,
if you start up like with like like what you've been using for the last 20 years or whatever, obviously you've got people that know you, even just one person that you know just supports you by liking
yeah,
a video that supports you, pushes out on the algorithm. So that really helps. Okay,
yeah,
so
definitely.
tell us a little bit about you, a little bit more personal about you. Then, like what who is Lauren Collins?
So growing up, I was a professional dancer.
Okay.
From the age of 16 up until last year, so 21. I was a professional rugby league cheerleader, and I've done a degree in university. And I did actually used to work in education before I moved to content creating.
Okay. What made you leave education?
It was just a financial state, and the positions that I was left in at the time, like
hmm
after, just felt like it was the best option for me. Um, and obviously, the way it's changed my life compared to just getting up and going to work 5 days a week, it's just dramatically changed. Like what I was making as an income monthly working, I do that weekly now, and it's just changed my life for the better, like completely better.
hmm hmm Was that feel like though when you're like sleeping, you wake up and you're like, wow, is that my bank?
Like, I don't know, just I mean, to be fair, I'm quite humble with it. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I started this because I wanted to get a better home, I wanted to get a better car, I want to be able to give back to the family, friends, and I am really humble with it. Like, a few of my friends that I used to be friends with are like, "Oh, well, you can go do this, and we can go to an expensive meal, and let's do this, let's do that." But I've started it for a reason, so I'm not gonna go out just splashing my cash on nothing. Like you'll still see me going out to Weatherspoons for a drink or with the
hmm
girls on a cheap night out. Like I'm not bothered because
hmm
I've done it for a reason. So just because the money's there, I'm not gonna be stupid with it.
Fair enough, fair enough. And what's like been the reaction from friends, family? People have always got something to say. What's been the reaction so far then?
Oh God, it's been a bit 50-50 to be fair. Like I think I did lose quite a few friends, I'm not gonna lie,
hmm
and it's the friends that I didn't think I'd lose, to be honest. But to be fair, I just think it was more of a jealousy thing because they were always in a better financial state than I was, and then obviously when I started doing this, they realised that I was back on my feet and I could stand for myself, kind of thing. So I lost those, and family wise, the person who it hit the most was my mum. I'm not gonna lie. And it was more upset for my mum, I think it was, because I did go to university. I was the only person in the family to attend uni. I was the only person in my family and her only child who actually got a career and went to school, did well with what they needed to do. And I did have a good career ahead of me, but when we actually sat down and spoke about it, you know, I am an adult, I've got my own home, I don't live at home. So she has come round to the idea now and she's fine with it now.
hmm I think it makes it sometimes like, it's a lot easier for people to accept when you're actually doing well from it. Like,
Yeah.
that just changes everything, because like there are, bless some girls out there. Some girls start it and it just doesn't hit the ground running straight away. They need that, like, obviously
Yeah.
they need to work a bit harder, sort of thing. But like, and obviously try and explain it to their family once their family starts seeing like, what the hell is that you're posting on
Yeah, well,
Instagram and stuff.
I would keep it on a download to be fair, because my mum's really strict. Like,
hmm
I've grown up really strict, and I tried to hide it from her, to be honest. But then people were seeing it on social media and sending it to her, and the truth always comes out in the end.
hmm
And if anything, the solo content that I do, my mum wasn't really bothered about that. It were more the
hmm
collabs which hurt the most. Um, because obviously seeing that I'm her baby, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like I've said, when she actually realised why I was doing it and the way it's changed my life round,
hmm
she's come to the idea of it. We don't like she don't come around for a cup of tea and I sit there telling her what I've done and all that stuff. But when I've got money, I'll take her out and treat her, and I'll give it back to her. But I don't sit there telling her what I've done in the hotel or what I'm next shooting, like stuff like that. I
hmm
don't tell her any of
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. So you said that you lost like friends that you didn't think you would lose. What is that? What is that like? Because I imagine that's quite hurtful. I imagine that hurt you when that
I
happened.
mean, yeah, like the three friends that I lost, I mean, one of them I've been best friends with since I was 16 years old. So we're talking like 5, 6 years worth of friendship that I'd lost. And the way she saw it is because she's got children,
hmm
and she were basically more upset to the fact that she don't want to be seen out in public with me and her kids, basically, because what people see of me now online, she didn't want that to be mixing with her children, which I do understand, but realistically, a real friend and support, you wouldn't just turn your back on someone. And then the other two, I just genuinely think it was down to jealousy. Like, they tried to say that there were other reasons and whatever, but we never argued, we never fell out, we never, there were never bickers between any of us.
hmm
But then the moment I start doing this, they just, I don't know, they just completely switched. And then the thing is with me, like, I live by it is what it is. And if they don't want to stick in my life and stick by me, then that's their loss.
hmm
Whereas I've had a friend since I was 7, 8 years old, and she doesn't agree with content creating. Like, she thinks, like, people should do it. But because I'm her best friend and that's what I've chose to do, I'm happy, so she's happy. And
hmm
quite a lot of my other friends and girls are like that. So
Yeah.
the true ones have stuck by me, and that's all that matters, really.
hmm I think what I've noticed as well is that like obviously this OnlyFans content is taking the new world by like storm at the minute, and
Yeah.
people are generally going to work, coming home stressed out, not seeing their family, and not having really hardly any money to show for it. And obviously, they're hearing about girls making all this money on OnlyFans,
Yeah.
and it's just like there is a lot of jealousy and a lot of envy, and it's like, oh, I wish I could. It deep down, it's like this is why I always say to everyone, no matter what, I say, if you sat down with most girls, said to them, right, look, I'm going to give you £1 million cash right now. You just have to do OnlyFans for 5 years.
Hmm.
Every single girl would take that £1 million up front. Like there's not many girls that wouldn't take that money up front to do the OnlyFans.
Yeah,
Like,
100%.
you know what I mean? So it's like they're judging you, but it's a lot of it is like, oh, I wish I could. A lot of it is a little bit of envy, a little bit of I wish I could do that. And
Yeah.
also there's like, do you know when, like you said, you touched on it a little bit, if you're friends with someone and you're used to a relationship with them where you're always bailing that person out, then all of a sudden that changes. You don't necessarily need them to bail you out. You've got your own stuff and you start doing new stuff and you start buying new things, and then they're like, oh, you got new this, you got new that. And
Yeah.
it's kind of like a way of putting you down because they're jealous of what you've got, kind of.
Yeah, well,
So
I had this conversation with someone on TikTok last night. Like,
mhm,
people in the comments were like, "Oh my god, it's disgusting. Like she don't respect herself," and like a lot of content creators are probably one of the quietest people you will know. Like, we just keep her down low, and like people like do think us content creators are dirty girls basically, and we're selling ourselves. Like, that's what the perspective as it is nowadays, but we are the complete opposite. Like, you know, even for example, like we have to message men constantly, message girls constantly. And in our private life, we don't do it because we do it as a job. So we don't do it
Hmm.
in private life.
Hmm.
Whereas the people who have negative views on it just don't understand it. Like if you were to actually sit down with a content creator and, actually ask them deep questions of why they do it, what's the reason, and how do they find it, etc., etc., then they'd probably be okay with it. But when people don't understand it, people just think, oh, they're selling themselves for a bit of money. Like, if they actually understood the background of it all, they probably wouldn't say it.
Hmm. Hmm. And this is something that this is one of the reasons why, like, because at first I'm not gonna lie, I was like, should I interview OnlyFans girls? So I interviewed one. And I looked online. I thought, you know what, people are really enjoying this sort of content. But then,
Mm-hmm.
like, I would message people to try and get them on the show to do like life stories, talk about anything. It could be anything, and they'd be like, no, you talk to all those OnlyFans girls, so I'm not coming on. And people have generally like shut doors in my face because like they think, and I'm just like, so they're not allowed to have their say. They're not allowed to give their perspective,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like what the hell, it's most girls that I'm starting OnlyFans management myself, and I've had the pleasure of meeting girls. And I'm sitting down having chats with them, and you girls work so hard. You girls work really, really hard. Most of the girls that I know, the girls that I manage, they're like older, and obviously they got children, and they're battling really hard. It's a hard grind. Sometimes people hit the
Yeah.
ground running, but sometimes it don't work straight away for everyone. So it's a hard grind. So it's like I've changed my perspective on a lot of stuff from speaking to girls that do X work, OnlyFans, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But I think people need to see these interviews and see the real person. So I mean, like, especially as well, like if you're making content and stuff like that, you're not going to be like people are going to think, oh yeah, they're slagged, the typical thing. They see you, oh, she's a slag, look at her doing all that. It's like all the effort that goes into getting dressed up, to putting an outfit on and doing that.
Literally.
Literally all that effort. It's like in your mind, you're probably thinking, "Oh God," And girls being what they are as well. Not all girls are as confident as they show, so it's really hard. And it just takes out some girls get one little knock, and it's like, oh, I'm fucked. Oh,
Yeah.
someone calls them a name. It's like, no, I'm just finished. Like, I just can't. They're literally there's no consoling them. And it's really sad. But society is what it is at the minute, and people are just. I think people are waking up to it a little bit. Um,
Yeah.
but what would you like? What would you say the main? You tell me anyway? Like you tell the people as well. Like from your perspective, like what sort of work goes into what you do, sort of thing, and why you do it.
I mean, to start off with, like the content, I think the content's probably the hardest part.
Hmm.
Like, you don't just go into your bedroom and think, right, I'll take one photo of my boobs, I'll take one photo of my bum, that's it, I'll post it, I'll make millions. Like, no, don't work like that. Like, I'm under management and every week we have to send content in. And don't get me wrong, like, I have a routine. So, I have one day to the side where I smash content out from morning till night. And I can literally do that, maybe twice a month, if that. And when I say twice a month, you've got to think I've got to have enough content to cover the whole entire month. So for me, I sit there for hours upon hours upon hours, hardly eating and hardly drinking because you've got to smash it out constantly. 20 different outfits a day, getting different angles, different photos, different lighting, different positions, different rooms. Like, it can be draining, and sometimes it can actually take over your life as well. Like, there's been times where me and the girls have planned a night out, say for example on Friday night, but then I've had swarms of customs just for or while I'm getting ready, and I'm like, do you know what, I can't. Like, I've got to keep everyone happy, and I've got to keep doing it. Like, I just can't. And it does actually take over your life sometimes. And making sure you've got the right equipment as well. Like, I mean, some people can start with just home equipment, the stuff that they've got at home, but you need to have the correct ring light, you need to have the good size, you need to have a good phone to start off with to make sure the quality is good.
Mm.
You need to have the right toys, you need to have enough outfits, like there's so much that goes into it. And I just think some people don't actually realise, like, the amount of times people have turned around to me and said, oh, well, you want to take a few photos on your phone, don't you? Like, I have 3 phones and 2 of them are work phones. It's not straightforward at all. Like, it's
Mm.
far from.
Yeah, definitely. And this is something that I say to a lot of women as well, to all those judgmental women that have so much to say about OnlyFans girls, is that men watch porn. Literally, men watch porn. Your boyfriend, your husband,
Hmm.
or your husband is
They
probably,
themselves probably watch it. Like,
yeah.
I say this a lot. Girls have come to me and said stuff to me, and I've watched it. I'll put my hands up, and I literally turn around to them and say, "Do you watch porn?" And they'll say, "Well, I have," or "No, I wouldn't." But I guarantee you now, everyone over the age of 18 has guaranteed watched it once in their lifetime. So, what is the difference in them watching it to knowing someone who actually does it?
Hmm.
There's no difference.
Hmm. What I don't think they understand is that men need porn.
Yeah,
Most men need porn because most men are in average relationships, with average women that are working, not always got time for them. A lot of men feel real lonely, feel real neglected, like,
yeah,
so men watch porn as a way of life. That's never going to change. So you have all these prudish women saying, "Oh, look at these women doing this, blah blah blah," when their husband is probably in the toilet somewhere or downstairs beating off to one of you girls, and to be fair, in some senses, you girls are actually keeping relationships stable because, like, if that guy didn't have that porn, he might go out and cheat on his girlfriend. That's the next step. If he can't, if after, maybe you'd argue after he watches enough porn, he might get bored and go cheat anyway. But most men are quite happy with just beating one off to their little bit of porn, and it's something that every man does. There's no men out there that can honestly sit there and say that they don't watch porn or don't do that, because that'd be an ultimate lie. So
mm,
the sex industry, the porn industry, that's keeping marriages together, that's keeping people sane. And men are so lonely. People have the perception of like creepy guys. You do get some creepy guys out in this industry, I'm sure but there, a lot of it is just like I said, in men in sexless marriages, really sad. And sometimes they just want to talk to a pretty girl, want to talk to a pretty girl, ask her about her day, feel important. And, some men will happily spend thousands of pounds just giving you girls money because you're the only one that's sort of like taking an interest in them, whatever. So it's very
yeah.
important. So it's
I
very
mean, we can
important.
get stick from that though as well. Like, I've had it. People are like, "Oh well, people's boyfriends will sub to you and blah blah blah." But we don't force someone to sub. We don't put a gun to someone's head and say, "Right, you have to sub to us right now." Like, people go off their own backs, find who we are, and sub. And if that's someone's husband, boyfriend, brother, dad, whatever, that's not our issue. Like, we put our content out there for ourselves, and if someone wants to sub to it, that is down to them. And I've had it where girls have been like, "Oh, you'd definitely get with anyone's boyfriend," or, do you know, like on a night out, if I'm stood talking to a guy and the girlfriend comes over and she's like, "Oh, that's my boyfriend." And because they know my job, they'll just think I'm trying to take the boyfriend. But that's not the case at all. Like, if in my personal life, if someone comes to me and says, "Oh, yeah, I've got a girlfriend," like, "See you later, mate." Do you know what I mean? Get gone, because I know. But online, when they are subbing, we do not know if they've got a girlfriend or they're in a relationship or married. Like, we do not know that.
Mm.
And we shouldn't get the stick for that because that's not our issue. Do you know? But some people just don't understand it like that.
Hmm. Well, it's end of the day. Like I said, the guys are going to do it no matter what. Like, guys. Sometimes we have to lie. Sometimes we have to lie to women, or we don't talk about it. Like, but
Hmm.
guys, like, we're not like, I don't want to stereotype all women, but we're not like most women. Guys will probably need to get that off every single night, sort of thing. Most guys will
Yeah.
need it. And if you said to a woman, "Oh, I need to have sex every single night," sort of thing, they'd be like, "What? Are you freaking crazy or something?" That just wouldn't
Yeah.
happen. So for guys, for a quiet life, they're just going, seeing you ladies, custom, whatever it is. You know. Um, all right, move on to some exciting questions, some funny ones. You don't have to answer all of them, but
Right, go
what's
on.
what's been the weirdest request you've had?
Do you know what? Believe it or not, right? My subs are actually pretty, like, they are pretty good. And I wouldn't actually say I've had like a weird request.
Hmm.
Genuinely. Like, so far, so good.
Okay.
Um, I think for me, I don't like feet. I'll be honest, I don't. I do feet content, don't get me wrong, but I don't like feet. I think probably the most weirdest one I've had requested for myself, not because of the fact it is weird, but a foot wank. Like, genuinely, that's probably the worst one I've had. But to most people, that's probably not that weird.
Hmm.
It's
And you
just
know,
I don't like feet, so I just think it's weird.
and with the foot content obviously is booming. It's crazy at the minute. Sweaty feet. These guys are crazy for it.
Yeah.
But what's the saddest thing though is sometimes obviously I get girls and I'm like, oh, you got to do this or whatever sort of thing, and they're like, how the hell am I meant to do a foot wank video? Like, and obviously sometimes you have to help record and stuff, and you see them putting themselves in weird positions and stuff.
Oh yeah, the
It,
positions are unreal.
yeah, literally. I had a group conversation the other day actually, and we were talking about the position. Some of the guys are a bit like, do this, stand like this, bend over like that, but look at the camera at the same time and show me this angle, and it can be a bit crazy. But you girls
I
do
had a
it.
photo sent to me, and one of my subs was like, "Oh, can you take this photo for me?"
Hmm.
So I looked at it, and she was literally sat in the mirror with her legs wrapped behind her head, with everything out below on show. And he said to me, "I was like, I'll pay you £100 for this picture." So I sat there thinking, like, you found this on Google or wherever you found it. I was like, I can send you a similar photo, but I cannot wrap both my legs around my head and sit there for a good 5 minutes trying to take a photo. Like, I think some people just think we're bloody magicians and we can just do absolutely everything and anything, but I think most people do seem to forget, like, we're normal people.
Hmm.
Like, we're just normal people. We're trying to, like, make everyone happy, but sometimes it's like, bloody hell, like, just because they can do it, don't mean we can do it.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, some of the requests I get, like, yeah, it's very
Literally.
interesting. It's interesting. So what made you? I know, obviously. So, what sort of content would you say you make, like, sort of thing, and like, what made you jump to? Because obviously you're quite new into it. What made you jump straight into like boy girl content as well?
So I just did solo content
Hmm.
for to start off with, and then obviously I got my management, and my management basically said, you can smash good money on solo, but if you want to really see where the money's at, then collabs are your best way. So
Right.
they asked me if I do girl on girl, and I am straight, so it's not for me. So they asked me if I'd be interested in a boy and girl content. And I was like, okay, that's sweet. They wanted to set me up with somebody, but for me, I personally cannot sleep with someone unless I'm attracted to them. Like, I can't.
Hmm.
So I said to him, that's fine. Like, I will do it, but let me find my own person. And then, literally, that night, I was on TikTok Live, and I ended up joining like this box battle with somebody that did OnlyFans.
Hmm.
And he would literally turned out to live 10 minutes down the road. He was
Wow.
actually good looking, and he was my type all over. So we met up, we spoke about it, and obviously because he'd done collabs before, because he was in a good percent,
Hmm.
I was a bit like nervous kind of thing, because I have recorded with men that I've slept with in the past, some exes and stuff like that, but when you record content, it's completely different. In the moment when it's a relationship, you just pick your phone out and record whenever with whatever lighting.
Hmm.
Whereas a collab, you literally have to get naked in front of 4 ring lights, 4 cameras. It's crazy. So I was at first a bit like, oh god, I'm scared. Like, but
Hmm.
we'll go for it because I'm gonna try and see what the money's like. So we'd planned it, we arranged it, and we'd travelled there. We'd got to the hotel, and we took what we needed to. Then once I did it once, it was sweet. Like, why were I even worried?
Hmm.
Um, then obviously when I actually managed to sell that and I promoted it, the income that came from it, that's the reason why I booked another one, because I was like, right, my management weren't lying. This is where the money's at.
Hmm.
So yeah, so at the moment I have only done two, but I do have a third one pending.
Okay, cool. Um, I mean, like, it seems to be working perfect for you. It seems to be working perfect. Some girls. I think like it is like what we touched on earlier. You've used your existing social media sort of thing, and like the main thing is like all that time where guys have asked you for content, and you're like no, no, no. That sort of makes them hungry for it. So
Yeah,
the moment you do it, you've got guys, and you'll have guys that it might I've had girls tell me that that their dad's friend's been subbed to their page. I've had that before. So but people just want to have a look, and it is what it is.
yeah.
It is what it is. There's nothing you can do to stop it. You're doing your job. You're trying to make as much money as you can. So where do you see this going? Like, what are the goals? What's the end goal sort of thing? What's the plan? How long do you want to be in the industry for?
So obviously I am a single mom,
Hmm.
um, and I don't want to be doing it when she's in school.
Hmm.
I want to be on my feet by the time she's in school, and the reason, like I said earlier, the reason why I started this was because I was in a very, very bad financial state. And I was placed in the house where I currently live due to like things that happened in my past relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And we was at the point where we had just had to take it. But this is it's not the kind of house that I want for my child. You know, I've made it homely. It's absolutely stunning inside. But it's in an area where we don't want to be. It's not got a garden. It's got a drive, but she can't play on a concrete drive. Do you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I want to get a better house, better car. I just want my daughter to have absolutely everything she needs and deserves.
Mm-hmm.
And once I've got enough money there where I can say, right, okay, this is enough, then I'll stop. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so I mean, some people, quite a lot of people have said to me, to be like, no, you'll carry on. You've seen the money, blah blah blah. But when I say something, I'll do it,
Mm-hmm.
and I will give up when I have made enough money for my daughter to have the life that I want and the happy life that she deserves.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's the most admirable thing that anyone can do. To put, obviously, it's a job that we know comes with certain stigmas and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's not like the, oh yeah, I want to. Some girls say that I want to be a porn star and grow up to be that, but most people, like, they want to, they don't. It's not their ideal go to job. But
Hmm.
for you girls that are out there doing it, mum's doing it. You're quite lucky. You seem to be doing really well. But some people have to work a lot harder. That's the
Yeah.
this is the sad thing as well. You've got people that are doing same. You imagine being in the same situation but not being successful. Like, you'd be like,
But yeah.
it's really tough. It's a tough game.
I
It's
mean,
not for.
I didn't think I was going to do well. Like, I was just a normal girl, do you know. I've got the stretch marks, I've got the mum tum, you know, I'm not a size 4. I'm a size 12 to 14, do you know.
Mhm.
Don't get me wrong, I've got the top and bottom assets, don't get me wrong, but, you know, you think, you see everything out there on social media of these size 4s with, you know, perfect teeth, perfect hair, and they absolutely smash it. So then, just when an average girl does it, you don't think you're going to do well. And I thought, right, I'm just going to give it a try. But then after that first week, I was like, bloody hell, like I was gobsmacked.
Mhm.
And like I said earlier, so far so good, and it's carried on
Mhm.
going. So in a way, I am kind of glad that I ever started.
Yeah, I mean, you've got like the perfect, you've got like the perfect character to be an OnlyFans girl, because you're a down to earth real girl. And I even me, like, I manage girls, and I'm like, okay, I've got a really good girl. I take her on, and she's beautiful, blah blah blah, typical, what everything that you expect, skinny, blah 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 blah. And people aren't interested. But the thing is, the industry is full of girls that look just like that. Like,
Yeah,
you can see girls that look like that on Pornhub, and 10 times better,
yeah,
whatever, you can see them girls. But real girls, and you seem like you've got like a really bubbly sort of personality about you as well, and I can definitely vibe off that. And I think that's the kind of thing that will make guys go over and think, oh yeah, she's a cool girl, I'm gonna go check on her, and see what she's saying.
yeah. See, the
So.
thing is, like, even with my subs and stuff like that, you know, I've got a lot of TikTok and I go live daily on TikTok. And, you know, I'll sit and talk to them in my comments, have a laugh with them, you know. I've done battles with them on TikTok and, you know, been on camera with them on TikTok. And it's like some girls who do OnlyFans wouldn't do that. But with me, like, as long as they're fine with me and they respect my boundaries and, you know, they don't try push it and they respect me, I'll be friends with, not obviously friends like too friendly, but you keep it professional and you can still have a laugh with them. You can
Hmm.
still have a joke with them. And because I met them on a platform that they already had me on before I did this,
Hmm.
why do I need to act all stuck up and like, oh God, no, I sell my content to you, I can't talk to you.
Hmm.
You know, I've been on nights out and people have come up to me and be like, oh my God, I love your content, you know, I'm one of your subs. And I'd be like, oh my God, no way, like whatever. They'll buy me a drink, we'll have a bit of a dance, you know, have a bit of a laugh. But as long as they respect the fact that they don't think they can bed me just because they've subbed me, you
Yeah.
know, I'll be friends with anyone, I'll talk to anyone. And I do think that's probably one of the reasons why I've done so well because,
Hmm.
you know, I've had a few subs where they've had gone through a little bit of shit and they've messaged me and been like, oh, you know, I'm a bit down at the minute. I'll sit and talk to them
Hmm.
because they've gone out their way to send me an absolute fortune and pay for my content. So what's 5 minutes of my day going to take up to sit and make sure they're okay?
Hmm. Hmm. And that's like, for me, that's like the difference between girls that sort of hit the ground running and girls that don't, and the work ethic. So I'd like you to touch a little bit on your work ethic, just to sort of tell some of the girls out there, that are struggling, girls that maybe feel like they're not pretty enough to do it. You know, what would you say to them girls? And also, what's most important though is like what you said with the TikTok live, the work ethic. If you don't put the if you don't put the work in, then you know it's not going to happen.
Yeah, like you've got to put the work in, you know. You can't just sit in your bedroom one night and think, oh my God, I'm gonna sell my content. You really can't. Like I have a girl messaging me at the moment, you know, and she's 50-50. And I've turned around to her and said, until you're 100% or even 150%, don't do it. Because if you're gonna start it and not put the time and effort in, you're gonna be looking at your statements in your bank and think, oh God, I'm not doing as well as she's doing, I'm not doing as well as and it's gonna put you down, you know. And you've got to love yourself before you go ahead. And you know, if you take content photos and you don't think they're confident enough to post them, then you're not gonna want to strive to keep pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. You know, I take a photo and think, you know what, I can do better than that. I'm gonna do better. I'm gonna make more money. I'm gonna take a better photo. And you've got to put the time in. You can't just think I'm going to take photos for 10 minutes and I'm done. You know, if you want to do well, you've got to graft. And it's just like any other job. You want to do well, you've got to put time and effort into it. And you've got to be persistent as well. You know, you can't smash content out for 4 days in a row and then it comes to a weekend and you want to go out with your friends so you get pissed all weekend because people are going to leave. You do need to be consistent 24/7. You know, you can't stop.
Mhm.
And if there is any girls who are confident in themselves but want a bit more extra confidence, then do it. Like, you know, especially people who are parents as well. Like, a lot of stigma around like the mum tums and not feeling confident because of your stretch marks, blah blah blah. Get on OnlyFans. Like, it boosts your confidence like there's no tomorrow.
Mhm.
Like, genuinely, it boosts it 10 times better.
I can imagine. Yeah, I can imagine. Like, you can only imagine having like 500-600 people. Like some girls I know have 500-600 people telling them every day, "Oh, you're so beautiful. I love you. I want to marry you," and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
I will put the warnings out. I say this to a lot of girls that do the OnlyFans. You're going to get a lot of like, you know, the worst thing is the fake promo shit. You know, that you probably get on Twitter and you get on Instagram. Oh, let
Yeah.
me promote you. Let me share you. Share for share. Like, there's so many ruthless people out there at the minute that are just like, you know, and they always get the people that are just starting as well, like, you know, with not so much money, they always get them. And then also you've got the guys doing the, oh yeah, let me make content with you, and they just want
Oh,
to
God,
bang.
I get that daily.
They just want to bang. Yeah, we should make content together. We should make content
Yeah. I
together.
mean, you do have to be quite careful. Like,
There's a lot.
if I could share my DMs to you guys right now, you'd be like, oh, how do you deal with it? But
Hmm.
like the amount of times I start talking to a boy and they're like, right, well, let's record content then. To me, that's just the block button. Like, go away.
Hmm.
Just because I do the job that I do, don't think I'm going to get you in bed and record content with you. Like, don't work like that. And you get a lot of people who will ask you for content and do a collab with you, etc. But then if you say no to them, they can get nasty because they think, well, you're doing it with them, why can't you do it with me?
Yeah.
And all I advise to any girl who wants to start or they have just started, block. Just block, block, block. Like,
Mm-hmm.
don't sit there and put yourself down because someone's had a go at you because you don't want to sleep with them and record it.
Hmm.
Don't put yourself down because you've been on a night out and someone said something to you. Like, just block everybody out. Ignore any haters. Do not let it get to you. If you are doing well on it, you're doing well on it for a reason. The negative comments are coming for a reason. Do you know? The reason being that you're not giving them what they want.
Hmm.
So just block them out. Like, my block list is probably longer than myself. Like, it's a
Hmm.
joke how big it is. But I'm still doing well on it. And that's because I've blocked everybody out.
And what gets me as well, like obviously, I message people on TikTok and Instagram to try to get them on my YouTube channel, and I've had some even this week alone. I've had some really rude girls be like, "No, no, no, you interview all those OnlyFans girls." Then I go through this girl's page. She's got she's wearing next to nothing. She can see her nipples. She's got a nipple piercing. You've got all these girls with so much judgment wearing like doing you guys jobs, doing what you guys are doing,
For
you know,
free.
and for free and worse. I'm like, wait a minute, you're literally sitting there, your tiny little titties bouncing around, your nipples are showing, you can see your thing, you can see everything there for free, and you're telling me you don't want to come on you don't want to come here to do because you don't want to be associated with OnlyFans girls, like, you know. I'm
Yeah,
just
like
like,
I had an incident on a night out before where I was in a pair of jeans with a really nice top and
mhm,
nothing was on, not even my cleavage was on show, you
mhm,
know, and this girl came over to me. I was like, "Oh, you're that OnlyFans girl, aren't you?" She was like, "I see it on my boyfriend's Twitter all the time." So I think it was obviously anger because her boyfriend's been looking at my page or whatever. And I just looked at her and said, "Yeah, why?" And she was like, "Look at the state here." She's like, "Do you want to get some class?" When she had shorts on, that was like a thong. She had the smallest little top on, and I mean, you do you, girl. Like if you're confident in that and you want to wear that, then that's absolutely fine. But don't come for someone who's got more clothes on than you. Like I had a lot more class than what she had on that night, but
Mm-hmm.
just because of my job, I'm apparently disgusting and I had no class or self-respect. But I do have respect. When I go out, you don't see me walking around half naked just because of the job that I do.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know, I'll walk around in a jumper and leggings for all I care. But it is quite funny, to be fair, to see the girls, and
Mm-hmm.
they will literally do our job for free, but then give us stick for it because we're getting paid for it. And
Definitely.
that's why I just say it's down to jealousy. So you just block them all out.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. And I would say as well, like for some girls like that are thinking about doing OnlyFans and not sure if they want to do it, I would say to them, not that this probably make any sense to them, do it, but just like start it off with just like bikini pictures
Yeah.
and no serious nudity, just bikini pictures, make your page free, build up a massive fan base. And those are the girls that will kill it. If you build up, if you're just doing like bikini pictures and stuff like that, and then guys are more incentivized to sort of like, oh, I'll give you this for this. That's when you get the real money, when guys want to, they feel like it's obviously a sense of power as well. They're paying you to do it, but
Yeah.
at least that way you kind of like, you get in, but you don't have the pressure straight away as well, sort of. So that's obviously quite a good
And it's
idea.
not even that, like any girls that are worrying about starting or have questions, like genuinely, because of the shit that we get doing the jobs that we do, I can guarantee you 99.9% of OnlyFans creators, we will help you. Like, don't think because we're posting what we're posting. And some girls look at us and think, oh, they're well stuck up. Us girls who do content creating are far from. Like, we have a joke on TikTok saying, like, anyone with a chili in the name, we stick together, because we all know the hate that we get. So if I have millions of messages like daily in and out where girls are like, oh my god, like I'm a single mom, I'm struggling, I can see you're like a single mom, could you help me set my page up, like can I ask questions? I've had phone calls with complete strangers from, down south, bloody in Scotland, Wales, and I've sat there on the phone to them for nearly 2 hours telling them how they can set the page up and giving them tips how to do well. And it was only last night a girl rang me because she'd set up a page and she wasn't getting many subs and she didn't know what to do. And I literally hopped on a call with her and helped her out. And
Hmm.
I've done it with other girls who were a lot higher than me when I first started. I was like, oh, look, I need help. A girl that I know messaged me about it and I helped her set her page up. And she's now in the top 5% on OnlyFans because I supported her getting there. So any girls that are worrying about starting or anything like that, like if you see a creator, just drop them a message. Like we are probably the nicest people you will ever meet. But
Yeah.
just because we're posting photos in our underwear or half naked doesn't mean we're stuck up. Like that's our job. We have to do that. But
Hmm.
we are happy to help anyone because we've been in those shoes before, but we've
Hmm.
found a way out.
Hmm. Do you remember your first sort of like explicit sort of photo that you posted to OnlyFans, like, and how you felt when you were making it and stuff?
I mean, it feels a bit like, oh my god, who's gonna see this?
Hmm.
And at first, it were more on the sense of like, my family are going to see this.
Hmm.
And I was kind of on edge posting it. But then once it was posted and it blew up, you forget about all that. I mean, if for me, and I had to be honest, I think the worst thing for me was my first collab being posted on Twitter.
Okay.
Because everyone's seen a pair of boobs, everyone's seen a bum. Do you know, that's just normal. Whereas your little promo clips on Twitter where you are literally, you're sucking someone off, you're sleeping with someone, or, there's foreplay going on, everybody's going to see that Twitter is free.
Mm.
And once that's out there, that's it. I can be walking through town and someone will look at me and, when they're staring, I'm like, they've seen that. Do you
Hmm.
know? And I think that's probably the only bit where sometimes I'm a bit like, oh, even now, I'll post it and I'll think to myself, like, I'm going out tomorrow night.
Hmm.
How many people are going to see me get railed before I go out tomorrow? You know? But then again, you see the price tag that follows it and you're like, oh, do you know what? It is what it is. Like, everyone's seen it, everyone does
Hmm.
it. Do
Hmm.
you know what I mean? You just got to be confident.
Do you find like do you obviously that's quite risky? Obviously, doing like a collab and a post. Obviously, I imagine you're just posting short clips and stuff on your
Yeah, so on
Twitter.
Twitter, it's up to 6 seconds on Twitter.
Okay, okay, that's not too bad then. But it's still like I know like a lot of girls. They're like, oh, do I want to? A lot of girls are stuck. A lot of girls I know that are stuck in between it. Do I push it or do I push it or do I sort of try and hide it a little bit?
Yeah.
And I think obviously if when you, it's all in or nothing. I think
The
it's
thing
all
is,
or
how
nothing.
it works is the more you post, the more explicit stuff you do, the more money you get.
Hmm.
Like, you could be a girl and just sell your feet. You're
Hmm.
going to do well. You probably
Yeah.
do really well. But then if you actually started posting more explicit, with boy and girl content, girl on girl content, threesomes, foursomes, the money speaks.
Hmm.
The more you do, the more you get paid.
Hmm. Hmm. Definitely, definitely. Lauren Collins, probably one of the most down to earth girls I've ever spoken to, and you're only 21 as well. I mean, like your wisdom is beyond your years. Like it's lovely having you on. I hope to like
And
if you want to collab again, do anything, just let me know. Hit me up. It's been great chatting to you guys.
and
Make
you
sure
and you.
Lauren's links will all be in the descriptions. You'll be able to see this interview on YouTube. Twitter, it's on there now. I will tag you in as well on that. It's been amazing having you, Lauren. Anything you want to say before you go?
Just thank you for letting me on. And obviously explaining my story and the reasons of why I do what I do.
Cool. Fabulous. Everyone, Lauren Collins.